Nigerians, imagine your president actively seeking for re-election, opening his mouth to tell you that hunger has existed before he was born and there's nothing he can do about it. He doesn't have control over population and poverty, yet under the watch of the APC, Nigeria became the poverty capital of the entire world. Nigeria currently ranks number one with the highest number of poor people on earth. Under the watch of the APC, 140 million Nigerians became multidimensionally poor. Yet your Imilocon president that is actively seeking for election is telling you there's nothing he can do about it. This family is evil and spells doom to Nigerians. The wife the other day came out to tell celebrities to do the work of the government by taking care of citizens, yet currently seeking re-election. E no get anything wey dem never tell us. Make we begin roast corn, make we begin fry akara, make we dey sell kuli kuli while dey drive around in Rolls Royce, in Maybachs, in Escalades. Well, let's see Arise TV crew lecture that old cargo on the duties of a president.
Was born, there was hunger in Nigeria. Let's take a look.
Yes, liability of my predecessor. I so did. And I've been running with it. But this government has stabilized and there's prosperity on the horizon. The quality of life is improving. Yes, before I was born, there was hunger in this country. And I have no control of the population development of Nigeria, trajectory. And that is why you have membership in your various faiths and churches to give hope to people and give commitment to humanity and the true sense of it.
All right, Ayo, Nigerians are divided. Some agreeing that hunger and population growth are structural challenges no president can fix overnight. Others pointing out that fuel subsidy removal and naira devaluation have significantly worsened food costs under this administration. And I'll take some reactions on X before I come to you. Bruno wrote, inheriting past challenges is literally part of the job description of a president. Is there actually any government that succeeds without assets and liabilities? We need real solutions instead of endless reminders of the previous administration's mess by the president. Another ex-user, Legal, wrote, he made a quite striking comment about having no control of the population development trajectory of Nigeria. Asiwaju, conduct a census to know how many people are in the country, then plan accordingly. Why plan accordingly? It is important to know the percentage increase of the general population of Nigeria, the eligible voters, the unemployed, underemployed people, the elders, etc. Humans are the greatest assets of a nation. Planning the economy based on estimated population shows unseriousness. If the population is growing and at a fast pace, as most analysts are projecting, what can you as the president do? Nothing. It's too sensitive to touch, but at least speak up. Be proactive. You know, I actually like that tweet about, census and the planning, because this is one of the issues that we have in Nigeria. Yes. We do not have that database, the census database. And this is the sort of conversation we should begin to have, even, towards the lead up to the election. We're talking about, how many voters are there, what is the actual population of Nigeria, but also the question about how do you plan for an economy? We've seen the economics or even this administration talking about this $1 trillion economy as well. Your thoughts?
So
how do we
spot on that?
Yes.
Let me just say that I think it's important for us to hear views like this so that we can really understand the thought process, the ideology of this administration. Unfortunately, the president has not presented himself for a proper interview where we can interrogate certain things. Even before he became president, he did not submit himself for a debate to help to analyze, interrogate some of the ideas that he had for Nigeria. Even when he went to Chatham House, he wasn't able to articulate what he had planned for Nigerians. Instead, he relied on teamship, calling on members of his team to respond to questions that were on the minds of many Nigerians. So to be fair, Nigerians don't actually have a clear idea of the plans and directions of the president based on his views. But when he comes out to speak like this, then we have an idea. And what was going through my mind when he was speaking about, hunger has been there before he was born and doesn't have a control of population numbers, I thought, but wow, this is it. We are in a critical situation. If the president can speak like this concerning the country, it reminds me of what one of his spokespersons said, Daniel Bwala, when he was saying that, the poor people will always be around, that's why the church has poor people, making a justification for the levels of poverty. And when you hear justifications and excuses like this from leadership, then it means that there is no plan or there is no thought as to how to get to understanding the issues and how to get Nigerians out of this terrible situation we find ourselves. Talking about numbers, I don't know how any government is able to plan without data. And so what we have is estimations and vibes. How it's feeling is almost, like how you go and check, let me see the forecast. You have no critical data to analyze and dimension the real issues. How can you talk about population control if you do not even understand the population, the rate of growth of population in Nigeria? You cannot give us that. The last administration, which the president said he inherited, had planned, had started conversations around a population census. They said they were not going to do it. They were going to leave it for the next administration to do. Since the last 3.5 years that President Tinubu has come into office, there's been no talks around population census. So we are still effectively planning in the dark. What happens with that is that it does not inspire confidence that we know where we are going as a nation, whether economically, whether planning for the most vulnerable, whether planning for poor people, whether the plans to make lives better for the poor. And that is a worrying situation. What I would suggest as I close is this. The president needs to give us numbers, data on how these policy reforms is talked about, especially the unification of the exchange rate and just final point, unification of exchange rate and the removal of fuel subsidy. To what extent these savings has contributed to more money in the pockets of the ordinary Nigerian? Actual data. Number two, jobs that have been created. What are the numbers of jobs that have been created? Not just estimations, not just vibes, but how many jobs have been created by this administration? Right. Just simple things like that, and not give excuses that any leader should not be making to his people.
All right, we have to move, Dr. Abati. One sentence, please.
It's unfortunate when the president says, hunger has been existent since even before he was born. Now, that, rubbishes this commitment, even by his own government, to agriculture as a primary responsibility and a primary target of government. Every government in Nigeria has always said agriculture, should be major focus to create jobs and to make sure that goes to bed hungry in Nigeria. It's like the president saying agriculture is not important. If people want to go to bed hungry, they can go to bed hungry because it's a fact of life, which has been there since he was born or before he was born. The second thing is planning without data. Planning without data is one of the major challenges in the development process. The international rule is that population census should be conducted every 10 years. The last time Nigeria conducted population census was 2006, 20 years ago. But over the years, we've been budgeting for the National Population Commission. They will say they are doing birth and death registration census. At the end of the day, every government will say, we are planning for census. Money will be budgeted. Nothing will happen at the end of the day. So we're just planning in the dark.
All right.
And that, does not show that we're committed to the development process.
Okay,
My
Rufai.
comment on this matter is let the poor breathe. Don't suffocate them.
That is the president's statement, Rufai. It's not your statement. Did you borrow it? Where did you borrow it from? Well, all right. Okay, well, thank you all.
Interesting, right? Nigerians, you have seen it all. If after watching this video, you have not decided to go pick up your PVC, right, and get ready to vote out this wicked and incompetent family out and boot them out of Nigeria, then we are not serious as a people. They've shown you to your faces that they hate you. The Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration lacks capacity to solve a single problem that Nigeria is facing. Bola said it himself, that even if you give Bola Ahmed Tinubu 20 years, he will never solve anything or fix Nigeria. And it is playing out right before our very eyes. For insecurity, they gave excuse. For electricity, they gave excuse. For hunger, poverty, and starvation, which they created by their useless policies, they are giving you excuses. It tells you everything you need to know. It tells you to prepare for the battle ahead. It is a battle for your soul. It is Survivor series. Do you have what it takes to survive? Think about it while we prepare for that particular date, January 16, 2027. See you around. Yes.